So the way the story goes is that there was a man on a bridge in New York City. He was getting ready to jump to take his life, and a police officer was dispatched, and he got to the bridge. He ran out to where the man was at, and he said, "Please don't jump. Please, it's not necessary." And the man on the other side of the rail who was getting ready to jump said, "You don't understand. Life is miserable. I have nothing to live for. Life is the worst it can possibly be." So the police officer said, "Look, I'll make you a deal. Give me 5 minutes to tell you about how great life is and why it's worth living. And then you can tell me for 5 minutes why it's worth not living and why you want to jump." The police officer thought, well, if I get him in some conversation, maybe I can slowly win his trust and bring him over on the other side of the rail. So the police officer just waxes eloquently for 5 minutes about how wonderful life is, how fantastic it is, all the great things and all the experiences still yet to live for most people, and the joys and the relationships, and he gets done, and the man on the other side of the rail says, "Now let me tell you why it's not worth living." And he begins to talk about the woes and the pain and the problems and the trials and all the issues, and again and again and again rehashes everything. And by the time he's done, the police officer jumps off the bridge. Now you might say, what's the point of the story? Very simple. I am constantly amazed at how many people come into my office and they tell me about the advice that they've received regarding relationships, but they receive the advice from people who don't have healthy relationships. You have to be careful, because there are people out there who can spoil your joy and make your circumstance even worse by their advice. And they might mean well. I know a lot of people who will literally say this in my office. "Well, Joyce has been divorced, so she warned me about," and I always want to go, wait a second, wouldn't it be better to take marriage advice from someone who's happily married, or married with 20, 30, 40 years of experience in which to give you a better perspective of where you're at? Again, be careful where you get advice. If it's not from a proven track record, you might be taking bad advice, and you might be taking it for the right reason, but it's still bad advice. Remember, love is a choice.